Tired of hauling around an extra camera? Your phone is the camera you always carry. If you haven't upgraded it in a few years, you should be pleasantly surprised by how much phone camera performance has improved. In fact, we've pretty much reached the point where you can leave your old point and shoot at home as long as you've got a good camera phone in your pocket. But not all phone cameras are equal. That's why we've listed the phones with the best cameras. The Huawei Mate 40 Pro is one of the best camera phones out there. The main snapper is the same 50MP f/1.9 camera we also saw on the Huawei P40 series and Mate 40. This is joined by a 20MP f/1.8 ultra-wide camera and a 12MP f/3.4 periscope telephoto snapper. The ultra-wide camera uses a free-form lens which, to cut a detailed scientific process down to its bare elements, uses an uneven shape to effectively reduce the kind of distortion ultra-wide snaps usually have. This works well, and wide-angle pictures looked fabulous. The periscope telephoto lens supports 5x optical zoom, and pictures taken at this zoom level look so good that it's hard to tell they're zoomed at all. You can zoom in 50x optically, which simply crops in the image, and compared to super zoom snaps we've seen from other phones, the Mate 40 Pros don't look awful. Portrait mode is great, images don't have over-the-top bokeh effects, and instead some settings, like highlights and shadows, are tweaked to make the subject stand out more naturally. On the front, the Huawei Mate 40 Pro has two cameras, with a 13MP f/2.4 ultra-wide snapper joined by a time-of-flight sensor for improved depth sensing. Finally, let's look at videography. The phone uses the ultra-wide snapper, not the main one, to record videos, and you can shoot up to 4K 60 FPS, but if you turn on image stabilization or subject tracking that drops down to 1080p 30 FPS. The iPhone 13 Pro has a triple camera setup that seems familiar. But that has been totally re-engineered even just from last year, let alone previously. For a start, they all include larger sensors, capturing more light. The 12MP wide-angle camera has a wider f/1.5 aperture, plus sensor shift image stabilization. The 12MP ultra-wide has a larger f/1.8 aperture, and the telephoto is now a 3x zoom for the first time. And as an added bonus, the ultra-wide can be used as a macro lens for the first time, with focusing up to 2 cm. Pro RAW is still here for capturing images in a RAW-like format with fully flexible editing, but where the image gets the benefit of Apple's core image processing techniques, including Smart HDR4 and Deep Fusion. The processing has all been upgraded thanks to a new chip, and between the larger sensors and better processing, night mode is now available on all 3 cameras for the first time, and offers more accurate colors while it's at it. The front camera hasn't really changed. It's 12MP, with a f/2.2 aperture, and a wide or narrow field of view. You get portrait mode thanks to the Face ID sensor's 3D scanning capabilities, and it features all the same image processing techniques as the rear cameras. Consequently, the iPhone 13 Pro takes phone photography to yet another level, and nails the rest while it's at it. The Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra is a photography powerhouse. The main camera has a 108MP sensor and f/1.8 23mm sensor, and it takes colorful and sharp pictures whether you're photographing a near or far subject. One could argue that 108MP is overkill, but it allows for pixel binning which lets the phone capture great low-light photos. The ultra-wide camera gets a 12MP sensor, which is paired with an f/2.2 13mm lens that takes images with a 120-degree field of view. Thanks to its wide field of view, it's good for reference shots of locations, but it's not ideal as a photographic tool, due to the fact images are a little distorted around the edges. There are 2 telephoto cameras. The first has a 10MP sensor and a f/2.4 70mm lens for 3x optical zoom. Even this comparatively limited zoom is useful for closing the distance with medium-range subjects. This camera is also used for portrait shots which are second to none in the smartphone photography game, with natural-looking background blur. Finally, we come to the super zoom camera. This has a 10MP sensor and f/4.9 plus 230mm sensor for a whopping 10x optical zoom. This is used for closing the distance on really distant subjects, like individual buildings in a wider vista. We also found it wonderful for nature photography. As a result, if you're a mobile photographer, it's a must-buy.